All right. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, can you all see me? Ladies and gentlemen, can you all hear me? Test, mic check. What's going on, people? What's happening? How y'all doing? Happy Tuesday, everybody. What's going on? Okay, so as per usual, starting up at the top with the shout-outs, we've got the homie Flame, bright and early, Neo killed E3, truly our darkest day. So now I'm just responsible for everything. So I'm responsible when I don't stream. I'm responsible for the chaos when I do stream. And apparently now I'm responsible for killing E3. Man, it's another trial and tribulation of being a black man in America. You just blame for shit that you don't even do. Tough times out here for the blacks, man. Tough times out here for the blacks. We got Dylan Collins. Hey, sucks about E3. Flame killed E3. Oh, I believe that. I definitely believe it, because that man's from Florida. And if there ever was something crazy that happens in a state, it's more often to be Florida. Yeah, sir. We got Bobby Meow in the chat. We got Pooh Bear. What's going on, y'all? Sup, Neo? Gonna catch you on the playback when I get off work tonight. I appreciate you, my brother. You have a good shift, bro. We got Brian Cutler in the chat. What's up? We got Hibachi. Rest in peace, E3. I always wanted to go. Yeah, man. Legitimately end of an era and going out in the worst way possible. We got Julian Phoenix. Blade. Yeah, that's right, just straight up Blade. We got DIMWITMONKEY. What's going on, DIMWITMONKEY? We got Valkian24. Maddie, how you feeling, bro? We got Wee Man on Wheels. Christopher Judge, the GOAT, for that Call of Duty comment. Side note, RIP to E3. Yes, sir, we got to pour one out. We got Pierre the Gamer in the chat. I graduated. Call me Big Fish. Yes, that's a fact. My boy Pierre just graduated with his master's degree. Congratulations to you, my brother. I'm so proud of you. We got NKDN in the chat. We got Jfam. I'm a PC gamer now. Oh shit! Does that mean you stink, bro? Is that what happens now? I heard PC gamers can't get up from the chair. What's up with that? You need to test that theory for us, Jason. Test that theory. But that's what's up, man. I'm so happy for you. Welcome to the PC Master Race, my guy. Enjoy your stay. Enjoy those frames. Oh, we got Corey Gryffindor. What's up, my brother? We got Steve Killer 952. We got B-Rex, got to study for my math final, but I decided to pop in and say hello to the homies. Also, Blade, coming from the studio that made Deathloop, ain't doing much to make me interested. Oh, yeah, we definitely going to talk about that tonight. But peace out to you, my brother. Study hard. We got Black 9100. What's up, man? We got Gilbert. I'm early. That's a fact. You are early, my guy. First time being early pays off. Yes, sir. We got Oblivion 81. It's the one and only protagonist of the day before. Don't do that. Don't you dare do that. Don't you put that energy and association onto me. I will sooner say that I am going to be playing Blade than I will ever be attached to the day before. Don't you? That man, shoot. I'm trying to be nice. I am trying to be nice tonight. Who else is in here? We got Beto Rods. We here. Yes, we are. We got the Real Mist 4305. What's up, Neo? What's up, you, my brother? We got Black Dragon in the chat. Sup? The Series S killed E3. Oh, it absolutely did. You know, if there's anything wrong in life, it's either coming from the state of Florida or it's the Xbox Series S. There's no other alternative. It's one of those two things. Probably both. Maybe the Series S originated in Florida for all we know. Yep, it's all your fault and your guest appearances and all these games and movies. Man, y'all can't be blaming me for all this shit. You gotta pick something and stick with it. You can't just be hopping around and saying Neo's responsible for this and that. It's just, nah, y'all can't do that. We got TX Bounty. The end of this major gaming held gathering for almost 28 years. E3. Yup. Dude, 30 years. 30 years in the industry, man. They went out with a whimper instead of a bang. It's crazy. Oh my god. Bane says it was the Xbox tax for sure. Now, you might be onto something. You might be onto something right there. It could potentially be the Xbox tax that made E3 go away the dodo. But y'all ain't ready for that conversation. Y'all ain't ready for that conversation. Oh, God. Okay, who else is in here? I think we more or less caught up with everybody. Yeah, we did for a change. Wow, okay, there we go. All right, I'm glad. Normally we spend like 20-something odd minutes doing all the shout-outs, but, you know, we might as well just dive into the show for the evening. You know, it's going to be a pretty lean show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. There aren't really a lot of topics to discuss because the year is winding down. So the only major things that we got on the docket for today are going to be going over the Game Awards, discussing some of the cool things that they showed off, particularly one game in question, which I can't escape the allegations from, and of course what just dropped today from the ESA. God. Shout out to the homie Acebreaker pulling up saying E3 is gone like my dad. Damn. Tell me he never came back? He never came back from the grocery store? He didn't bring the milk? He did not bring the milk? I don't know why a man is bringing milk, but hey, man. Hey, listen. At least you're being honest, bro. And look at you. Your dad wasn't in your life, and you ended up a person. You ended up a person, an individual that exists and haunts us on the stream. Shout out to Acebreaker. For real. Still waiting for 24 years. Damn, man. Still waiting for 24 years? That's just like me waiting for a new Dino Crisis game, bro. We can just sit here and just sip a bottle of vodka until we pass out, man. Corey Gryffindor says, did you notice the suitcase he was taking? Oh, whose suitcase? Well, I'm kind of lost. Catch me up to speed. What suitcase? What suitcase are we talking about? Yo, Neo, aka Blade. Don't do that, David. It's too early in the night for that, my man. It's too early in the night for those comments. It's too early in the night for that. Oh, man. Oh, brother. But yeah, let's just, the dad who was leaving. Oh, I'm screaming. He's talking about Acebreaker's dad. Did you notice he packed a whole suitcase and then some before he left Acebreaker? Like, these are the things that we need to be noticing. But how could we notice at the time, Corey? How could we notice? Maybe he brought his suitcase just so he could bring more milk home. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's what he wanted to do. Maybe the bags couldn't hold it. Maybe he needed a suitcase. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get this intro out of the way. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Another fantastic installment of Man Listen, which is our weekly news roundup series where we talk about everything that's happened in the industry, whether it be the gaming industry, the movie industry, anything that I find particularly interesting and fascinating that I want to talk about. We discuss it here live. Now, even though we just started up this series a few weeks ago, and this is our 4th episode of the show, this may or may not be the final episode for 2023, if you guys can believe it or not, because this show is centered around the news cycle and the things that break and the things that I find interesting. More often than not, in most industries, they take some time off for the holiday season, so it's anywhere from like halfway point of December all the way into the end of January, at least for the circles that we congregate in. So, I mean, outside of anything random that happens or maybe an occasional movie review on the channel, we might just be doing Ask Neo streams, game night streams, all the way up until when the news cycle kicks up again, which is probably going to be at the end of January like it usually is. But I do want to thank you guys so much for all the support on the show for the past couple of weeks. It has been monumental. It's been great seeing all of you guys' feedback, and it's something that going into 2024, we're going to continue to grow and be more consistent with it and plot out a whole schedule of things, how we're going to handle this in addition to Ask Neo. Maybe when we have some downtime, we can do Ask Neos more frequently, and then when we have some opportunities where we can just do this more consistently, we'll do this, and then we'll have Ask Neo on another day of the week, maybe Wednesday nights. I'm not so sure. What do you guys think? But again, we'll cross that bridge where we get to it. Housekeeping things before we get further into the stream. First things first, if you guys do want to support the channel, I have links down below to the YouTube membership, our Patreon page, in addition to something that is free, liking the video, because if you like the video, it helps send this out into the ether, it helps out with the algorithm, and helps bring a bunch more people into this amazing, crazy, weirdo family of ours that I cherish. It holds so deep and near to my heart, even though 99% of y'all just be throwing all these slanderous accusations at me for no reason. I just be existing, I'd be vibing, and people are just like, attack this man. But yeah, if you guys can do me a favor, hit the like button, helps on the channel tremendously. In addition to that, down below in the video description are going to be all the social media outlets from our Instagram page, our Twitter page, our Discord community, the Phantom Weirdos. Definitely check out the Phantom Weirdos, because since there is going to be some downtime, we are going to be hosting a couple of game nights. There are a couple of multiplayer games that have been coming out, and I think it'd be pretty cool for all of us to get together. We still haven't settled on what games are going to be playing, but I just know off the top of my head, obviously Among Us is a great one for people to play, considering it's damn near free. It's available on almost every system. So that's a cool thing to play. Of course, the Jackbox Party Pack is another one that's just like low barrier of entry, also a ton of fun. And then we might do some other stuff like party animals. I think I remember seeing someone talking about like the Nintendo Switch Online, some of the Mario Party games. We could possibly squad up and do something like that if everybody has a NSO Online expansion pack membership. I think that would be pretty cool. But again, we will cross that bridge as we get to it. As far as the topics for tonight, it is going to be a pretty lean, mean show. We're not really going to be discussing any news stories that broke throughout the week outside of one in particular. The majority of the show is going to be talking about the Game Awards that happened last week and just talking about some of the announcements that were pretty cool from there. Just an overall discussion of the Game Awards' place in the industry and everything that's happened since then, the falling out of it. But we might as well just get the elephant out of the way first and foremost, because it is the newest topic. It just broke a couple of hours ago in the morning, and it's something that, for people like us being involved in the gaming community, it's something that I think a lot of us at some point have tuned into, and that is of course talking about E3. Man, listen, you guys remember E3, right? The Electronic Entertainment Expo. I'm pretty sure everybody who's watched some form of gaming trailer in their life, someone who's kept up with video games, has heard of E3. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have probably taken off of work to watch E3. Some of you guys have rushed home from school to watch E3. It was that magical time of the year, held in June for the most part, where all the gaming companies, whether it's PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, Sega, going back to the heyday, whatever your favorite publisher it is, they've shown up to E3. It was this wonderful time of the year that was basically dubbed Gamers Christmas, where we just looked at all the new fancy stuff that was coming out in the next 2, 3, 4 years, and we just got excited for it. E3 is something that I've been watching since I was a kid, ever since they were broadcasting it on TV. And then, of course, as you transitioned into the digital era, watching it on, your home consoles and then on the internet and phones. And now, with the advent of streaming, just doing live reactions for it. E3 was always a lot of fun. Just so many iconic moments and memories. And this is coming from a person who, for the majority of my life, all I did was just watch the E3 showcases. It wasn't until later on in my adult life where I actually got a chance to attend E3, that being back in 2018. But something that we had noticed for the past couple of years leading up to pre-COVID times is a lot of publishers were pulling out of E3. PlayStation in particular was one of the biggest ones that had pulled out at, I believe, E3 2019. They just chose not to go. And then, of course, 2020, we had the coronavirus pandemic that stopped all in-person gatherings. And it just was like a snowball effect of bad things happening to E3. At what point they were going to come back, I believe in 2022, and they said no, okay, we're not doing that this year. And then they just announced that they're closing up shop completely. So effective immediately, effective as of today, December 12th, 2023, posted on the official E3 Twitter account from the ESA. After more than 2 decades of E3, each one bigger than the last, the time has come to say goodbye. Thanks for the memories. That's literally all they said. I'm pretty sure there might be a press release somewhere else from the ESA talking about it, but yeah, that's it, you guys. E3 is over and done with. This isn't just a case of restructuring. This isn't a situation where, hey, we're going to take an off year. We're going to have new people running it, and then we're going to come back strong. This is it. This is officially over and done with. And honestly, I've got a lot of mixed emotions about this. Now, first things first, I don't think it could be stated more than it already has been, but E3 had been going downhill for a while. While we all enjoy it at that time of year for gamers, where we can just go and we can watch, and we know we have this dedicated time of the year where all the companies are going to put their best foot forward and show off their stuff. One thing we've noticed with a lot of players in the industry is that they were trying to pivot away from E3 and do their own thing. Now, I said that PlayStation was one of the first big players to pull out of E3, but ironically, the first person, the genesis of a major publisher not having I guess you could say an E3 conference per se, was Nintendo. Nintendo during, I believe, the Wii U era had pulled out of E3 completely. I mean, they still had their E3 presence. I mean, they were still there with games on display for people to play in the media. But if we're talking about like mainstream conferences, they had completely bowed out of E3 and opted for Nintendo Direct. Nintendo news delivered directly to you, which, you know, at the time we all looked at that as, okay, they're literally doing this because they don't have any games to show off. At least on the Wii U, they really didn't have anything to show off on that system at the time. So it made sense that I believe it was like 2013 they had pulled out of E3. But, you know, we just thought nothing of it because, you know, they were still showing up to E3 and they were having like the Nintendo Treehouse, that it wasn't a traditional E3, but they were still there. But then the next big blow was PlayStation leaving E3. Like, they just weren't even going to show up. They weren't even going to have a presence. Like, screw a press conference and having floor presence. Like, no, we are not going. And that was a huge blow because that is one of the major console manufacturers. Like, yeah, Nintendo is huge and will always be huge in a league of their own, but PlayStation is definitely more like akin to Xbox and EA and Ubisoft. They're like what most people would classify as like E3. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just like that publisher that is just grouped in with all those things that is E3, right? And then you start connecting the rest of the dots. You start looking at a lot of the other publishers and what they were doing in the final years leading up to E3. And I noticed this particular when I went to E3 in 2018. I actually got invited by Nintendo to go to E3 that year because I was part of the Nintendo, I believe it was the Nintendo Ambassador Program, Nintendo Partner Program. Basically around the time the Switch came out, Nintendo was working heavy with creators in the community. And they had sent me like review codes for games. And one of them was like, hey, like, you want to come to E3? And I said, sure, I'll go to E3, you know? So they gave me a full-on press pass for E3. They invited me to the Splatoon World Championship event that they had. I got a chance to watch that live, in addition to playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate a full, like, 6 months before the game even came out. We'll touch more about, like, my experiences with E3 later. But, you know, one thing that I noticed about E3 that year is that a lot of publishers there were having off-site events further away from the venue. Xbox in particular, they had a whole separate showcase happening, I think at like one of the smaller Microsoft theaters, where they had all their games on display. All of them. It was huge. I think it was like 2 floors of where you could just play Xbox games. And at the time, I was just like, oh, that's probably because they just want to have Xbox stuff there, you know? But then I noticed that EA had done the same thing, and Nintendo, even though they had presence on the E3 show floor, they were still hosting their own things off property. And then you start hearing some other stuff about how a lot of the other, like, you know, like smaller publishers and these people weren't going to E3 like that because it just was too cost prohibitive. You know, like the amount of money that you would spend to be there and show off something, it wasn't really worth it to them financially. And then getting drowned out in the news cycle on top of that. So there was a lot of things boiling behind the scenes when it came down to E3 that prompted a lot of major players in the space to just not fuck with it anymore. But what I think really did some damage, and it cannot be stated more than it has, but the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, I know that's just something that's affected everybody throughout all walks of life, throughout all the industries, you know, just navigating throughout COVID and having in-person events and all that stuff. But that definitely did a number to the convention scene. Sure, conventions have been coming back as of late, but to the same degree as they were before. I mean, some of them, sure, but others, they're definitely taking their time. And one thing that we have noticed with the accessibility of information and how it's distributed to entertainment, like how entertainment is contributed to consumers, a lot of companies found that, hey, it was a hell of a lot more cheaper to just do our own directs. It was a hell of a lot more cheaper for us to have digital showcases. It was more easier for us to spend the time and effort to do this stuff digitally versus having show presence and then potentially flying people out there to have show presence and then all this other stuff on top of that. And when they looked at those numbers, they crunched those numbers and they did those things and they saw that it had no adverse reaction to the hype of the games and the games were still selling. Oh yeah, fuck it, E3. We're not doing that. We're just going to show our games digitally. right? I mean, we'll still have our presences at like PAX or, you know, smaller venues like a Tokyo Game Show or something. But E3, we don't need that stuff, man. We don't need that, right? So the pandemic obviously was a big, huge problem for the ESA. The fact that a lot of these companies noticed during the pandemic that there were more lucrative ways for them to deliver their information. But another thing that was just the craziest thing that could happen, like the situation during COVID where a lot of people involved in the industry who were connected to the ESA, a lot of journalists, had all their information doxxed. And the ESA's handling, their response was pretty terrible about it. They were not handling it in the best of ways. They were extremely late when it came down to addressing the situation, and there was so much confusion happening all throughout that. So yeah, you already lost trust with a lot of people in the media, right? I mean, of course, you'd still get the big players to come to your event, but if you're talking about maybe like smaller publications, things like that, they're probably going to be like, no, because I don't have that same level of protection. And then you have the situation with a lot of the devs and publishers who are just like, why do we really need this event? So yeah, I'm sure what it came down to is when they were looking at the numbers that it would cost for them to post an E3 event, and they were looking at the people who would come to the event and exhibit and the folks who would fund it, they probably weren't seeing the numbers there. And honestly, from a business standpoint, I can't really blame them per se. And that's just the reality of life nowadays. You know, if it's not cost productive, then a lot of these entities are not going to continue doing it, which really sucks considering all you really needed to do for something like E3 is just go back to the formula, you know, make it game centric, make it games focused, right? Which it's always been games, but you started to notice that the handling of things in the past couple of years was not to the benefit of the exhibitors nor to the consumers, right? Now, they tried to do some different things with E3 towards the past couple of years. Opening it up to the public was a very big one. Some folks would argue that kind of contributed to its downfall, because instead of E3 being a business summit for working professionals, now you have a bunch of people going in there and taking up all this time and floor space and crowding it and everything. I only went to one E3 in my life, so I can't really attest to whether or not that was the problem, but I would think that there were bigger problems going on with E3 as opposed to it just being more accessible to the public, you know? But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like just taking off my suit and tie for a second and just talking about E3 as it was as a showcase and what it meant to me, man, I do feel some type of way, because I remember like the days coming home from school, you know, especially like during the PlayStation 3 360 era is where I really started watching E3 religiously, because in that era is where, you know, I had personal access to the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't sharing a TV with somebody, you know, I had a computer and I was able to go on the internet and watch the showcases. That was also the time I started watching YouTube as well. And I eventually ended up becoming a content creator. So I was watching E3 every year, just looking for the next cool thing to play, and then also the next cool thing to talk about. And I think the first E3 I talked about was like E3 2009. Definitely E3 2010. I made individual videos for all the conferences. But around that era is when I would come home from school and I'd be watching E3 and I'd be taking my notes. I'd be taking my notes of like some of the cool things they showed off, some of the bad things they showed off, and just discussed it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was insane when you think about like how much time had passed since then. And of course, like, you know, all the memories, like all the hype moments. And, you know, we can take it back to like the early days of E3. We can take it back to the Super Smash Brothers Melee trailer. We can take it back to, you know, like seeing the Halo trailers, like just any popular game you could think of. They had a big showcase and they showed it off at E3. And, you know, like the iconic stuff just from like the past 10 years or so, like, dude, the PlayStation 4 event, the complete obliteration of the Xbox One. Honestly, like that alone, if you were watching everything that went down from when Xbox showed off the console to later that night when PlayStation just did the used games video and everything, it was crazy. It felt like World Star happening all in one event, and it was just the first day of E3, right? And it was exciting because you were just like, oh my god, we got 3 more days of this. It was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, I would say like the last time I was legitimately stunned and blown away from an E3 event was most likely E3 2016. Now, that's not to say that there weren't cool things that happened in the years past it, but 2016 was the last one where I was just like, yo, let's fucking go. Because that was the year where, Sony showed up with God of War, they showed up with Spider-Man, they showed up with like mad shit there, and it was exciting. And then, it just like was never the same after that for me personally. Like, we had some cool hype moments. Don't get it twisted. We had some good shit. But to me, like, that magic of just going to E3 and being like, bro, this is fucking insane. It was crazy. And there's so many other moments there. Like, just going off the top of my head, E3 2013, going back to that year, that was a legendary year. When they showed up with Final Fantasy Versus 13, and then they announced that, no, it's called Final Fantasy 15. Well, they should have stayed Versus 13 now that we think about it. But that and Kingdom Hearts 3 in the same event, I mean, seeing Final Fantasy 7 Remake announced, seeing the homie BG scream at the top of his lungs, like, yo, it was crazy. Like, that stuff, just watching a conference and this never knowing what you would get. The fact that it was live, not pre-recorded, not some state of play girl sounding like a robot devoid of personality, all of that stuff. Like, just seeing Miyamoto come on stage, just like show up after a Zelda montage. Just like, dude, there was so much stuff, so much cool, iconic stuff. And it sucks, not necessarily because it was just E3, but live events in general. Like, yeah, sure, live events are harder to put on by comparison to a digital event, but at the same time, it's just so much cooler when you have a live event. It's not something that's just like carefully curated, It was great, bro. It was great, and I'm sure people in the comment section will be giving all their favorite moments as well. But I got a lot of fond memories of E3, man. It had a lot of ups, it had a lot of downs, but that was a part of history right there, man. It was a part of history. And I'm definitely gonna miss it, man. And I'm so glad I was able to go to one, because here's the thing. Going to E3, it's fun to play all the games and hang out with the developers and shit like that. But the best part about E3, if you're not a social reject, is just hanging out with your friends, man. Because I went to E3 that year. I hung out with so many people, a lot of folks who I'm still cool with to this day, folks in the community, and then I just randomly run into and I made great friends with other people. Like, I remember we went to this open bar, and bro, we got fucking lost in the sauce. All I remember that now was I was taking shots with Naughty Dog developers and Treyarch developers. We was just having we was living. We was really out there doing our thing, bro. And that was just one of the best parts about it, because like, yeah, a lot of people are here to work, but at the same time, a lot of these people are fucking dogs and they're animals, and we just want to have fun, and we've been working all year doing all this shit. Let's fucking celebrate. And it was great. It was really fucking good, man. So, I just hope that at some point somebody hosts a showcase in person on that level of E3. I know we have fan events like Xbox Fan Fest. We used to have PlayStation Experience, but they don't want to do that anymore. I mean, we'll see what happens with the new CEO. Maybe he might realize that, hey, listen, you guys like this stuff? Like, maybe we might get that sort of thing. But I think the days of having an event on the scale of E3 are over and done with. I mean, it seems like the shows are going to be hyper specific for particular regions. Like, you have Tokyo Game Show, and then you have Gamescom over there. But in terms of something over here on the West Coast, I mean, PAX. But at the same time, PAX is not really the place to announce monumental stuff. So it's just, we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. What happens after that. But yeah, RIP to E3. Pour one out, man. But yeah, so that's the end of that topic, y'all. Shout out to all the people who've been joining in the chat in between, and all the people who've been donating super chats. I will tackle those momentarily. We got Gene Joseph in the chat. We got Zack Rodriguez. We got Peppermint Leo. We got SD Genesis. We got Iron Boy Wonder. Who else is in here? We got the homie Black Bond. What's going on, Black Bond? How you doing, bro? We got Don the Otaku. We got Fresh Ingredient. We got Cold. We got King Taichi. We got 3-Bit. Hey, shout out to the homie 3-Bit. Happy birthday to you, my brother. You fucking nigga. Who else is in here? Peggle too. Yes, sir. We got Santorini Studios. What's going on, gentlemen? If y'all enjoying the stream, hit that like button. Helps out the channel tremendously. And while you guys post some of your favorite E3 memories down below, I'm just going to go ahead and tackle some of these super chats real quick. We have a $1.99 super chat coming in from Julian Phoenix. Do you remember that Ubisoft caffeine guy? Oh, yeah, Mr. Caffeine? Oh, yeah, absolutely, dude. Like, again, as cringe as some of those showcases were, man, we had some legit gems there. We had some legit gems. Like, do you guys remember the, dude, it still feels like a fever dream. That Konami 2010 E3 press conference? That was weird, bro. That was so weird. That was so uncomfortable. It was strange. And if for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, just go, after the stream, go YouTube Konami E3 2010 press conference. I believe it was 2010. And just watch it in its entirety. It is so perplexing. It is so weird. It's so strange, you guys. It's awkward. We got $4.99 coming in from John McKinney. Do you think Insomniac should make a Punisher video game? That would be a dream come true for me. Man, listen, I've wanted a new Punisher game, a new Spawn game, a new Blade game for the longest. But to the same degree, I think we just need to leave Insomniac alone. They're already doing two things right now. We just need to leave some of these other IPs to somebody else. Honestly, I always thought that Remedy or Rockstar, specifically the team that made Max Payne 3, that group of people, they would make a sick fucking Punisher game, bro. Like the exact same people that made Max Payne 3 working on a Punisher game, that would be fucking sick. But yeah, if Remedy wanted to do a Punisher game, I'd be down with that. But you know, they're doing a lot of stuff right now. They're doing Control 2. They're remaking Max Payne 1 and 2. And don't they got like another co-op game in the development? They're doing a lot of shit at the moment. So I think we'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll definitely discuss more on superhero games once we discuss the Game Awards. We have Jfam, who's been a member for the past 24 months, the Spirit Detective tier. I appreciate your support. I can't even speak today. Wow. I appreciate your support, my brother. Happy Trails E3. Man, that man's just pissing on his grave. At least it sounds like him. I don't think you are, but he's just like, happy trails. It just sounds like you're standing over that person's body and you're about to just freaking throw a cigarette at them. Did you pour gasoline on them too, Jason? Is that what you did? We got a $5 super chat coming in from JFam. Oh, nah, we already let Insomniac cook, and this time around, I'm Gordon Ramsay. Oh, he said, put it back in the fucking pot. He says, you fucking serious? Oh, man. But yeah, we can definitely discuss a lot of superhero teams later on. But yeah, I appreciate all the super chats. If you guys want to have your question answered with priority, super chats are a great way to do that, in addition to supporting the channel. We currently have 98 people watching. We got 39 likes. I appreciate it if you guys hit that like button. Let's strive for 50 likes. We got enough people here to get us to 50 likes before the next topic. Let's see. Okay, and again, one more shout out to all the people who've been joining in between. We got Brandino in the chat. We got Deck Tested. We've got JM Lampshade. Oh man, y'all bringing it back. Tobuscus and Aisha Tyler, bro. Yo, Girlwood. You tell me that Girlwood did not give you wood? Come on, my guy. We got David Biglot in the chat. What's going on, my brother? We got Captain CJ97. What's up, Blake? Can y'all relax? Can y'all relax? Who sent y'all? Who sent y'all? Who sent y'all? Oh, we got Exploit in the chat. Shout out to the 101 people watching. Appreciate you guys for pulling up. Oh, man. Okay, so you guys ready to get spicy? Are you guys ready to get spicy? Is it time to get spicy? What should we talk about? Should we talk about the other obvious elephant in the room, the red and black elephant in the room wearing a trench coat? Should we talk about that, or should we have a real like heart-to-heart conversation about our boy Jeffrey the Giraffe? What are we doing? Are we gonna talk about the new game announcement, or are we gonna talk about Jeffrey the Giraffe? Which one are we gonna do? Which one are we gonna do, you guys? The ball's in your court. Let's see. We got one person saying talk about the game later. We got one person saying talk about the game now. We got one person saying talk about the game later. We got another person saying talk about the game later. Oh man, listen. I'm not a betting man. But I'm seeing a lot of people saying we should save the spicy game talk for later and discuss something else. Oh man, so you know what? Listen. What am I if not a man for the people? And when the people say we're going to talk about this stuff, we're going to talk about this stuff. So, man, listen. We're all a fan of video games here, right? We all love video games. But if there's something that we love more than playing video games, we love hearing other people's opinions about video games and getting mad about them, right? I think we're all in agreement of that. And for some people, they actually forego the playing of the games and they still get mad at somebody else's opinion about the games. It's absolutely crazy the time we live in. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Another year, another The Game Awards showcase from our good old friend, Jeffrey the Giraffe Keighley. A lot of people ask me why I call him Jeffrey the Giraffe, because he's not that tall and he doesn't look like a giraffe. But I'm sorry, Jeffrey the Giraffe, it's just a funny fucking name and I like it. Jeffrey the Giraffe. So, Jeffrey the Giraffe, he had his Game Awards showcase. He's been having this go on for like, what, 10 years now? Or what are we at, the 10-year anniversary? This has been the 10th Game Awards, or is next year the 10-year showcase? I don't know. But regardless of that, ladies and gentlemen, it is another year where Jeff and all of his buddies get on stage and celebrate this amazing, wonderful medium that is video gaming. Really just being a night that celebrates the creatives attached to these games who pour their hearts, their blood, their sweat, their tears into crafting these amazing experiences. And this is the night for the developers to get on stage and then proceed to get off stage within 5 seconds. That Game Awards 2023. Sponsored by Gillette. The best a man can get, right? That Game Awards, you know, the showcase that we all just show up for to watch the trailers and, yeah, just cringe at all the other stuff that they show off. Now, here's the thing, you guys. Unlike previous years, talking about the Game Awards, I didn't stream it this year. I actually had work, and, you know, normally for these showcases, I do take off, and I like to watch, and I like to stream and hang out with y'all, but this year in particular, I just felt no type of... I didn't really feel like doing it. I was just like, you know what, this game year, if something interesting happens, I'll tweet about it, you know? So I was chilling at work. It was a dead night, and so I was just watching in between, and man, boy... I think I would have been pissed if I was watching this shit, bro, because you know how the one thing that we've always complained about with the Game Awards not necessarily the Game Awards, but the Spike TV Game Awards, which was this show's predecessor, no relation, but the show's predecessor, was how it was a show that was put on by people who had a vague understanding of video games, and it was all about the advertisements, and it was all about the dude bro stuff, and it was all about the cringe shit, and just bringing on random people. So basically making it a show that your mom or your uncle could watch, instead of it being about the gamers, you know? You'll have people like Olivia Munn, and what's that dude's name? Joel McHale? Who the fuck's that game? Is that his name? Right? That guy, right? From Community? He was on there, and he was just like random stuff. You had the most random people come on stage. I think, who the heck, like LL Cool J came on there to announce like Mass Effect 3 or something. It was wild, bro. It was like people, we talk about the Game Awards being very, 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 very sacrilegious to the industry at times. But go back and watch the Spike TV Game Awards. They did some of the wildest I couldn't even believe it, man. I could not even believe it. I couldn't believe it. When I was literally there watching it, and we had this man, LL Cool J, come on stage to introduce Mass Effect 3, and then afterwards he was just like, hey, yo, wasn't that cool? Wasn't that cool? Get it? My name is LL Cool J. Wasn't that cool? I was like, yo, this is what times are we living in, bro? But, you know, Jeff Keighley, you know, he's been in the industry since he was like 12 years old. And he says, listen, I'm going to be that dude. I am going to rectify the wrongs. I am going to be the guy. I have to save Dent. I have to save Harvey Dent. That's what he said. And he put on the Game Awards, right? They had the first showcase. Now, mind you, listen, man, the first showcase, it looked like it was shot in my basement. You know, like it was all types of audio and video issues. It just looked very low budget, but I get it, man. I get it. It was held together by shoestring and a Logitech C270 webcam. Like it just... But he did the thing, man. He did the thing, and then, you know, with the years going on, it's slowly but surely, it's like it takes one step forward, 2 steps back. And some years it takes 2 steps forwards, 1 step back. And then we just get to this point where we're like, this is a thing, man. This is a thing that we have to live with. But you know, if there is one thing that Jeff has always done, is that he's made sure that, unlike the Spike TV Video Game Awards, he had made sure to give time for the creatives. He gave them an opportunity to get on stage and speak. Sure, they weren't given like 10 minutes, but he gave them time to speak and accept their award, right? And we're just like, oh, that's great. You're honoring these people. And then 2023 happened. What the fuck happened, Jeff? What the fuck happened? It's just like he looked at that stuff and he was just like, the analytics showed that not many people watch this acceptance speech. So you know what we need? We need Simu Liu in a cast hobbling on stage talking about doing some stretches. See, that is what the TikTokers need. That is what they need. What they need is half asleep Timothée Chalamet on stage to talk about the best video game. Because this man used to review Xbox 360 controllers back in the day. What the world needs is Anthony Mackie to come on stage and tell people to stop talking. That's what we need, man. That is what we need. What the fuck was this show, bro? Like, on some serious shit, like, I know I like to drum up things for theatrics, bro, but what the fuck with this show? Like, listen, I don't put too much stock in the Game Awards. This is not going to be a discussion about, oh, was this game snubbed for Game of the Year or this, that, or whatever, because I know people want to get into discussion on, like, oh, like, Spider-Man got 7 nominations and it didn't win any awards. It's this year's Horizon. I don't care about what won this or what won that. I don't give a fuck, because at the end of the day, these are people's opinions, right? And I don't care about that stuff, because at the end of the day, some of my most favorite games of all time have never been nominated for Game of the Year, and they're still fucking amazing, and I don't care. Would it be nice to see them get some recognition? Sure. Am I losing sleep about it? Hell fucking no. I'm not. So this is not going to be a discussion about what was snubbed and bias and this and that, whatever. What this is going to be a discussion of is how the fuck is this thing called the Game Awards when it's anything but awarding things to the people involved making video games. And this is not going to be me standing on my soapbox acting like I'm holier than thou and I know better than Jeff Keighley or whatever. But I do think it is funny that this man who had sought out to make the antithesis of the Spike TV Video Game Awards, he's basically rolled himself back into that era with just a little bit more prestige, a little bit more sheen and shine and glitz and glamour, and a little less cringe by comparison. Because if what you set out with your mission statement at the beginning of the show is about honoring the developers in this amazing night of gaming, and yet you give more screen time to random celebrities who, let's be honest, I don't care. Listen, everything I say about these celebrities is nothing about the celebrities themselves as people and the bodies of their work. I love a lot of the actors that they showed off on stage. I don't give a fuck that they are on stage presenting an award for shit that why are they even fucking here? Why is Anthony Mackie there? That man was in a Twisted Metal TV show. That man is not involved in the video game industry. Why the fuck is Timothée Chalamet there? He made a YouTube video years ago, and you think it's a funny tongue-in-cheek joke to bring this man on stage. Why the fuck are there Muppets on stage? Why the fuck is Gonzo making a return appearance? Listen, is this man Jeff married? Is this man Jeff married? I have a lot of questions about this man, because the way he is pimping out Hideo Kojima, you would think that Hideo Kojima is just this up-and-coming indie developer who has never, ever gotten any type of coverage whatsoever. With the way this man is trotting him out on stage, giving him the show floor, the lights, the door, the opening, the sound effect, the everything. But Neil Newborn, winning Best Performance, giving such a heartfelt speech, the Baldur's Gate 3 developers, and this is where I was just like, yo, this man Jeff is off his fucking rocker. The Baldur's Gate 3 developers paying tribute to their fallen comrade who had passed away, who spent time working on the game, they're being told to wrap it the fuck up with this teleprompter. The people who you should be applauding and awarding and cheering, you give all that screen time to Hideo fucking Kojima to talk about bullshit. Because let's be real about life for a second. That's what Kojima is talking about. This isn't about the quality of his games or whether or not you like them or you care about them. No. This man Kojima had 10 minutes on stage to talk about nothing. Oh, it's a game, but it's a movie, but it's also something else. Like, what the fuck does that tell me? What the fuck does that tell me? This man got on stage to show fucking mocap of people and like literally that's all we fucking got. That's all we got from Kojima. And this man Jeff was just like, oh my god, I can't. My man, Jeff, my dick is wet. Like that's literally what Jeff. Dude, all I'm saying is that this bromance with Kojima and Hideo, Kojima Hideo, Jeff and Hideo. It was fun in the beginning because they were sticking it to Konami. Like, yeah, Konami banned you. You're fuck Konami. Like, you can be on my stage, bro. But why the fuck is Kojima on stage and he's not showing any games? He didn't show us any gameplay. He didn't show us anything. This game ain't coming out anytime soon. Yeah, he's got 10 minutes on stage to talk about some bullshit, bro. Because that's what it is. It's bullshit, bro. Is bullshit. Everything that Jeff has done with this show, it's basically Winter E3. That's what it is. He wants this to be the Winter Games Fest, but he also wants it to be an award show at the same time. No. It's Winter Game Fest with a couple of awards sprinkled in. And then also everybody's favorite segment, my best friend Hideo. My friend Hideo. Like that is just the dick sucking that he does for this man Kojima, and dude, if Kojima doesn't fucking propose to you after all this dick sucking, Jeff, it is time to move on. This is a toxic fucking relationship, bro. This is toxic because he is doing all this stuff for Kojima and he's not getting shit in return. This is ridiculous, bro. It's just, bro. The glazing is crazy. You don't see this much glaze at Krispy Kreme, bro. It's just insane. It's just insane, dude. But Jeff want to talk about he's all about the industry and promoting talents and creatives. Like, no. Like, yeah, showing world premieres and all that stuff is one thing. I love that. But at the same time, with all the other time that was spent on ads for some bullshit to pay the bills, and then you give 10 minutes to Kojima, and everybody else gets rushed off on stage like, dude. This is what is crazy. And it's funny because everyone in the industry is finally speaking up about this. There were about 5 to 7 awards that he just did a rapid fire, and he does this every year, a rapid fire award session. That's what he did. He announced like the best score is this. Like, yo, bro, he was sounding like what the fuck from Crash Bandicoot, right? Like that. That's what happened. And then you wonder like what awards do you choose to present on stage and what you don't? Like best performance? Okay. Best narrative? Yeah. Game of the year? Absolutely. But then you have best sound design get an award spotlight, and then best score doesn't. And it's just like, what is all this other stuff? And then like the whole esports thing, you had some people involved in that saying like, yo, I didn't even coach this year. Why the fuck am I nominated? And then it just like Cyberpunk 2077 won best ongoing game, which I know I said I wasn't going to get into the nominations thing, but how the fuck are you giving somebody an award for fixing their game? Listen, it's one thing to say, okay, Cyberpunk is in a great place now, 3 years later. It's another thing to award somebody for doing what they were supposed to do. This whole idea, dude, you just wanted to give an award at that point. Because of all the other games in the categories that could have won best ongoing game, you give it to a single player title that they've done nothing but fix their game for 3 years? Regardless of what you think about the quality of Cyberpunk 2077, That game, it should be... You should not be giving any awards. I'm sorry, no. You could say good job for making a better game, but when you give awards, that is fucking ridiculous. That is ridiculous, dude. In any other medium, could you imagine that? Could you imagine, giving your plumber an award for fucking up a job that he did, but because he fixed it, you give... What? No. Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand that. At that point, you're just awarding bad behavior. That's what it is. And I'm not saying that to be mean and negative and the fact that they turned the game around. I'm not trying to shit on their parade, but giving somebody an award is different. Giving them a spotlight is different compared to everybody else in that category who has been successfully supporting their game. From Final Fantasy to Fortnite. Cyberpunk, no. It's not even an ongoing game. It's done. After they release the DLC and the patches, it's over. So how the fuck are you gonna give it? All right. Okay, bro. I need to stop making sense about this showcase where there's a fucking Muppet going around talking about chasing cocks uphill. I have to stop trying to make sense of these things. It's not in me. It's not in me to try to discern this, my friends. It's not working out. But yeah, I digress. And I know deep down the reason why Jeff is doing this. When you strip away the business side of things, when you strip away he's got to pay the bills, so that's why he has all these ads. When you strip away that this is mostly self-funded, when you strip away all the analytics and things you can expect, Jeff is doing this because he's vying for attention. And I'm going to tell y'all why, right? Jeff is the son of IMAX film executives. Both his parents were involved in the film industry, right? So obviously there's prestige attached to that. And Jeff is thinking like, what is my mark that I can leave? Well, you know what? I'm going to try to get the attention of the Hollywood industry, right? Because, I grew up with my parents being involved in the industry, so I want to get that attention too. So that is why he is vying for celebrity attention. Because with celebrity attention, they're attached to movies. And movies are big, and if we get these people to pay attention to us, it's going to grow exponentially. We're going to get more butts in seats, and we're going to attract all these folk. But what Jeff doesn't realize, and this is the funniest thing about it, regardless of whether or not you think movies and celebrities are more accepted by comparison to games is the biggest form of entertainment, and it has been for 10 plus years now. The amount of money that games rakes in, the amount of social relevancy that games rakes in, just in the year 2023 alone, despite all the crazy stuff happening with games layoffs, gaming is still one of the biggest forms of entertainment, while most of Hollywood has been flopping left, right, and center. Almost every single major blockbuster this year has flopped, and yet Jeff Keighley is trying to get the attention from that crowd, the crowd that does not care about us. So instead of using this as an opportunity to make this a showcase about the industry, instead of, I don't know, the winner of previous awards who won like best voice actor, instead of them presenting the award for this, or he bamboozled us for a second. He bamboozled us because he made it seem like he'd been learning, because he brought Christopher Judge on stage, the winner of last year's best performance, to introduce this year's best performance. He had us fooled. He had us fucking fooled for a second. And then all that shit just goes out the window. Why the fuck is Timothée Chalamet talking about the game of the year? Why? Why couldn't you bring on, I don't know, like one of the past winners? Anybody else? You could have brought somebody from fucking Naughty Dog. You could have brought someone from fucking Nintendo. Like the people you want to celebrate in the industry. Dude, this is a show for gamers, right? The gamers watching this show know these people. You could have brought Reggie on there. You could have brought Phil Spencer. You could have brought back Sean Layden. You could have brought Gio Corsi. You could have brought a personality. But he don't care about that shit, bro. He doesn't care about that shit. He cares about his legacy and his mark and getting the brownie points from all these other people. Instead of caring about the medium that you pretend that you care for. It's simple shit. And this is not me acting like I could run a better show. This is just simple shit that other shows have been doing for decades now. Other shows that he's trying to emulate, the Oscars, the Emmys, the Golden Globes. And I'm not saying that those shows are great forms of entertainment. I mean, it's all a circle jerk at the end of the day. But if we want to say we're different, if we want to say we care about this stuff, because, you know, a lot of people involved are extremely passionate. Bring those people on stage. Let them talk about this stuff. Give them an insight into this stuff. And it's just so sad that, like, whatever analytics he's using to defend this scenario, I really hope it's paying off for him. Truly. Whatever numbers he's crunching to say, like, let's bring random celebrities on here who have nothing to do with games and give them more screen time than the people that work the game, I hope it's worth burning bridges, man. Could you imagine if you were one of those developers who came on stage? No, not even that. Could you imagine if you were a composer for a game that got nominated for best score? You flew all the way from Europe or Japan or wherever you're at, and you don't even get to go on stage and accept your reward. You just see it, like, literally just, like, scroll on by, like, oh, and I'm just like, like, what? Like, bro, I would just be shocked. I would be stunned. And then I would look to my left, and there's Gonzo, the Muppet. Oh, my God. Oh. This is not real, bro. This is not real. I refuse to believe that this night actually happened, you guys. I'm just stunned. But yeah, you guys, honestly, looking at the Game Awards for legitimacy in the industry, we've always known it's a joke. But this year in particular, regardless of what you think about the nominations, that's whatever. But in terms of it being a show that caters to people, like, no, bro, you might as well just make this Winter Games Fest. Make this Winter Games Fest. Make this its own show. And then just cut the Game Awards nonsense. Because you don't care about that shit, man. You really don't, bro. You really don't. It's just like, what are we even doing here? Like, golly, I'm waiting for the one dude. All right. And we saw one developer not one developer, but one performer. Well, he is a performer, but one person who got on stage and he said, listen, I'm going to say what I got to say. Shout out to this man, Neil Newborn. Now, before I played Baldur's Gate 3, I don't really know about this man like that. I really wasn't checking for this man like that, you know? But I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 recently, and his performance is fantastic. I love him. This man, he knew what was coming because he had seen the speech from last year. So he already knew, like, listen, I don't got a lot of time on here, so I got to say what I got to say. And even when they were trying to play this man off, even when they were trying to tell this man to wrap it up, this man still gave us the most heartfelt speech you can give. This man ended off his speech while they were trying to play him off saying, like, you are not alone. Because we see you, we hear you. He was talking about that shit for everybody who felt like they'd been seen playing a game like Baldur's Gate 3. But the fucking Muppets. But Jordan Peele coming on stage, and this man, Jordan Peele, came on stage just to show off the fit, bro. And I respect the fit, I do. But this man came on stage just to glaze Kojima. Oh my God. The Glaze Awards 2023, that's what we calling this. That is what we calling this, bro. This is insane. But all things considered, you guys, the Game Awards in a nutshell, I mean, people are going to still watch it. We're going to still show up for the announcements. But acting like it's anything more than what it is asinine. And if Jeff goes up there, because he's starting to get in his feelings a bit. He was saying that, yeah, by the way, nobody was really cut off. It's like, Jeff, we were there. We heard it. We saw it. People took photos of it. Like, Jeff, stop the cap, bro. Stop it. Just say you wanted to have tea time with Hideo. That's all it is, bro. That's all it is, dude. Like, come on now. Like, why can't we just be real for a second? Why can't we be real about life? Like, come on now. Like, come on. It's not that serious, Jeff. Jeff, let me talk to you quietly for a second. It's okay, man. It's okay. You don't... Let me not. But yeah, that's all I got to say about the Game Awards, you guys. What did you guys think about it? Comment down below and let me know. And before we talk about some of the cool announcements we saw, we do have a couple super chats that we got to get through. I appreciate you guys so much for the support, and shout out to everybody who's been joining in between the topics. If you can do me a favor, hit that like button. It helps out the channel tremendously. We're currently at 56 likes. All right, so we have a $9.99 super chat. We got two of these, right? So we have two $9.99 super chats coming in from John McKinney. With Disney being obsessed with live-action remakes, it's strange that people forget they did live-action remakes back in the 1990s. The Jungle Book from 1994 and 101 Dalmatians from 96. I haven't seen the 2016 Jungle Book, but the live-action Jungle Book from 1994 is a damn great movie, and I like it more than the original animated movie. It's a damn shame it's not on Disney+. Yeah, so those are the often forgotten live-action movies because... I mean, outside the fact that, like, most people out there, like, during that era, you know this more than anybody, John McKinney, that was the Renaissance period. So the movies that people were focusing on the most were obviously the resurgence in animation. We had a lot of really good animated movies in that era. Some would argue the last time we had really good animated movies from Disney. But yeah, we did have a couple of live action movies. Like, Disney was really dipping their toe a lot in live action in that era, and not just movies based off their own properties, but also just like random stuff like Flubber was a thing. They were doing a couple of different things, but I think the reason why folks don't really focus on them much is because they just didn't have the great impact. I mean, some people like them more than others. You say you liked the live action Jungle Book movie from back then. I don't really remember much of that. I did watch 101 Dalmatians though. I think Glenn Close's performance in that, I thought it was pretty decent. But yeah, I think that just comes down to people just forgetting about that and just being like, whatever. And they're also not the most popular and iconic Disney properties, if you will. Like 101 Dalmatians, yeah, it's popular and relevant, but like, when was the last time we had a new 101 Dalmatians anything? You know what I'm saying? In regards to the 2016 Jungle Book movie, that's actually one of the few live action Disney remakes that I enjoyed. And same like you, I enjoyed it more than the original. I mean, the original does have its iconic moments, just like the banter in between the characters was great. But the OG Jungle Book movie was not what I call one of the greatest animated Disney films of the era. I mean, it was cool. It was serviceable. It had a nice song. But yeah, the live action one, in my opinion, was just leaps and bounds an improvement on it. But again, you're improving on something that isn't really that great, so it's not that hard. Okay, so going into the next super chat, we have $4.99 for let's go, let's get it. Shout out to the homie Corey Gryffindor. Guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but this is Corey Gryffindor's 10th super chat on a live stream. Oh my god, Corey Gryffindor, congratulations to you, my brother, for the 10th super chat for the 10th time in the 10th stream in a row. Shout out to Corey Gryffindor. Okay, so for those who don't know, it's an ongoing joke with Corey Gryffindor that for whatever reason, I think YouTube is bugged on his end, where every single time he sends a super chat, it marks it as his 10th super chat, and it does this obnoxious celebration in the chat saying, let's celebrate their 10th super on a live stream. I know that man is pissed, bro. Like I said, Corey Gryffindor is the real life Ash Ketchum. It's just like he's 10 years old for the rest of his life in terms of super chats. But shout out to you, Corey. I think what we should be pissed at is Jeff getting Bill Clinton Kid banned at the Game Awards. Oh, that's right. So last year at the Game Awards, oh god, this was a fever dream. I still go back and I rewatch this clip at least like once every couple months. At the Game Awards last year, we had this random kid go on stage during the Elden Ring acceptance speech. He just walked on stage. He just walked on stage, dude, like he was supposed to be there, and he was chilling in the background. And at the time, nobody really questioned it. Like, I was going back and watching live streams, and no one said anything because everyone was focused on Miyazaki and them giving their speech. But then there's just this random kid in the background. Now, I thought that he was a translator. I thought he was just a translator chilling, or maybe like, you know, like whatever, like, yeah, localization producer. I don't know. And then he came on there and he did the whole Bill Clinton thing, and it was insane, right? And then he got arrested, and then he got, this year, he sent a tweet to Jeff Keighley saying, see you at the Game Awards tonight, and everyone was freaking the fuck out, like, oh no, he's gonna do the same shit. But apparently he got served basically not a restraining order, but basically like, you better not come on this property or we're going to pursue legal action against you. So he effectively got banned from the Game Awards, which is crazy to think about, that you're going to ban this one kid that prompted you to finally get security for this showcase when you didn't have security at the Game Awards nor at the Summer's Games Fest. And at the same time, you're just going glaze with the Muppet. Okay, but anyways, you know, that was just, dude, just go back and watch that video, you guys. Watch the video. He just walks on stage. Dude, listen, he's got the fucking Riz. I'm sorry. Like, his infiltration skills are at max. Dude, he walks on stage, he's clapping, and he's walking on stage, and he pats the other developer on the back. He's like, yeah, we did it, guys. Great job. That level of infiltration is insane. I can't, listen, that GTA guy at the Summer Games Fest, that dude was annoying. The Bill Clinton kid, that dude has got style. You may not like it, but he's got style. He was so smooth with it. He really was. Okay. We have a couple of super chats coming in from the homie KY Han. Appreciate you, my brother. So he sends two $5 super chats. The first one, and it's talking about the Game Awards, is because Hollywood has prestige and legitimacy. It's why so many AAA games emulate Hollywood and HBO prestige movies and TV shows with their cutscenes. Jeff is trying to create a show for general audiences. The reality is that the show for game devs is the Golden Joystick, since it's voted by devs. I mean, that's the thing, bro. We have the BAFTAs, we have the Golden Joysticks, we have the DICE Awards, we have those things for developers. But to the same degree, though, it's egregious considering he's bringing so many other people who aren't involved in the industry there for no reason. And you're doing all this other stuff that most people wouldn't care about. That's why it feels disingenuous that you are saying that this is a show to celebrate the industry when you're really not celebrating the industry, and you're bringing all these people here and you're not even giving them time to accept their award. So that's the problem. If this had just been, like I said before, the Spike TV Video Game Awards, that is just bullshit and it's schlock and it's whatever, cool. But when you come on here and you act like you're holier than thou and you're putting on this great show and you bring out a fucking Muppet, like that's weird to me. Like, is there anybody out there who just saw that Muppet and was like, yep, that's what I signed up for. That's what I tuned in for. That's what I spent hundreds and thousands of dollars for. Like, this just to see the Muppets. But do the Muppets really show up at the Oscars, though? I don't know, man. Like, what is the deal with the Muppet? Did, like, Jeff grow up with the Muppets or something? Was Sesame Street or the Muppets, like, one of his favorite things growing up? I don't know, man. Like, it's just weird for me. That's very strange. The Muppet thing, I'm really confused about. Like, where does the Muppet fit into this? I really want to know. And we have another $10 coming in from KY Han. There's actually a good reason it's not Winter Games Fest. Jeff would never be able to pull the big name publisher announcements. They only show up at all because the games are up for awards. Not all of them, though. Not all the announcements that we saw, not a lot of them were really up for any awards. Like, some of the biggest awards that we got from the night weren't up for any awards, like as far as like respective studios and things like that. So I don't really get that. I mean, I understand what you're saying in theory. I get what you're saying, that why would they give an announcement like that to Jeff at a Winter Games Fest when they could put it up at an awards show? I get what you're saying in the sense that it's going to have eyes on it regardless, so people are going to see it. But going back to what we discussed before, talking about E3 and the relevancy of E3, if it's a big enough announcement, it's going to be seen by people. Like, all you have to do is put that thing online and people are going to go crazy. Like, Nintendo proved that. Nintendo's like, oh, no. You come to us. We don't fucking come to you. And depending on the size and scale of the game, provided it's not an indie thing, yeah, they could definitely do that. Like, so I don't, again, it just goes back to it just being fucking disingenuous on that front. Like, if you just said you weren't about it, bro, if you said you weren't about it, it's just like, come on, dude. But yeah, man, we gotta get to the bottom. We gotta fucking hunt the truth. We gotta finish the fight. We gotta finish the fight and hunt the truth to figure out what is up with the Muppets. I don't get it. I don't get it. What's up with the Muppets? But why the Muppets? Why the Muppets? But why? Like, yeah, Muppets are iconic. Why didn't he bring the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on stage or some shit? Put them in a fucking costume. I'll go see that shit, bruh. The whole point is they're well known, but is that really getting people excited though? Listen, I want to see the metrics and the analytics behind this. I need to see why. Matthew McConaughey makes sense because Matthew McConaughey actually has a sizable role and he does more with that game, with that studio. When you see him come on stage and he talked about that stuff, it made sense. That made a lot of sense. The other shit happening did not make sense. Like Simu Liu coming on there's like, yeah, I may have a role in this game, but I'm gonna spend time talking about this other bullshit. Like some stuff. There's no one was complaining about Matthew McConaughey. Nobody was complaining about that. Yeah, one person maybe, but compared to all the other shit that was happening, like nah. Ask the Muppet, did Jeff touch you? Oh God. But yeah, that's the discussion on the Game Awards, you guys. Now let's move into some of the announcements and some of the cool things that we saw there. The best part of the show. There was a lot of game announcements, more than I thought we would see at the showcase. So giving credit where credit is due, in terms of this being a game showcase, I thought it was like an A+. I thought that what they showed off was fairly exciting, and it was a nice little end off for the year, a nice cap off for a lot of things that were happening. I mean, we might as well just talk about like the biggest like bombshell drop that we got was from Sega, because Sega pulled up there with like not one new game announcement, not two, but they pulled up with like what, 5 new games, a new Shinobi, a new Golden Axe, a new Crazy Taxi, a new Jet Set Radio, a new Streets of Rage, and it's just like, listen, we got all 5 of these games in development and they're coming out in the next couple of years, and here's some gameplay for it. Like, they were teasing that out a few days ago. They were teasing that you're going to see something, but none of us really expected what it was. Some people were thinking crazy stuff like it could be a new Persona game. Some people were saying it could be a new Virtua Fighter because it was being sent out, at least to a lot of content creators who were involved in fighting games. They were posting that, so it prompted a lot of people to think that. And then all of a sudden, we just get 5 new game announcements, which absolutely insane. It's crazy. Now, we did learn a little bit about it after the show. All of these games, even though they are in development, they're not going to be coming out anytime soon. We don't have any particular release dates on them, but they are coming out within the next 5 years, which is exciting to see. Sega credits a lot of the reason why they're reviving these games to a couple of franchises in particular. Of course, the success of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, which it's so crazy how they're so successful with that series and they haven't put out a legitimately fucking good, amazing game from Sonic Team. It's only been halfway decent. It's a schlock from Sonic Team. But the success of Sonic, of course, Persona and Yakuza. So it's great that those franchises have now become pillars. I mean, when you have bozos like me buying 3 copies of Persona 5, duh. Duh, of course. So that's great, like seeing those being very important for Sega, and it's prompted them to bring back a couple of other franchises. Now I'm interested, and this would be my only little bit of fear and reservation, because there was that report that Sega's working on, what did we say, like super games? They said like super game titles, like big games, like huge scale titles, things that basically the way I read it, it seemed like they were trying to make these ongoing live service, games as a service, reoccurring revenue, that type of shtick, but Sega's version of it. I'm not sure if any of these games are going to be attached to those, if they're going to try to find a way to make those games super games. I'm not sure, but I don't think they need to do that. All they need to do is just make great fucking games, and if they want to, support it with post-launch content. And just let these games have a mark on history. Like a new Jet Set Radio, a new Golden Axe, a new Shinobi, a new Streets of Rage. Like, dude, Streets of Rage 4 was huge. This next Streets of Rage coming out, you're like, oh yeah, we gonna do this in-house. Fuck yeah. Like, make that shit work. Do it, man. A new Crazy Taxi. Get into the fucking kitchen and cook with that soundtrack, bro. Because if that Crazy Taxi comes out
and it don't got a great soundtrack, bro, I'm sorry, it's dead on arrival. Because Crazy Taxi lives or dies based off of that soundtrack. It's kind of like the Tony Hawk games. Like, Tony Hawk games are fun, but if you don't got a good soundtrack, what are we even doing here? But if these games are a success, and if they are budgeted appropriately, if they don't try to make these games like AAA budgets in terms of we're investing $100 million in a Streets of Rage reboot, like we don't need to do all that. We don't need to do all that, bro. But if they're scaled accordingly, and they're a success, and it's just one after another, we could see other Sega franchises come back, man. And I'm excited about that, because Sega, even though that they pulled out of the console race like 20 years ago, they've found their footing again. And gosh darn it, you guys, it's crazy how all it takes is them going back to their back catalog and giving a damn about their franchises. If that's all it takes to be a great developer, like, we really cracked the code here, y'all. But I'm excited about that. I can't wait to see how well these games turn out. I'm still cautiously optimistic, just based off of just being a gamer in modern gaming and revivals. You know what I'm saying? But if there is a company that could do that very well, I think it is Sega, because Capcom's been doing pretty good at that. Square Enix, they just brought back a few of their franchises. They're doing good at that. So it all comes down to those games being good, and then us supporting it. We got a $5 super chat coming in from Don Otaku. Sega with their first W not related to Atlas or Ryu Toku since Bayonetta in 2009. And it's because they finally realized that Sonic is their worst IP. Hey, shout out to Don Otaku. He's not wrong, though. I'm just saying, if all these games come out, I wouldn't be surprised if they're all better than Sonic, but that's not saying much. That really isn't. Like, listen. The best thing about the Sonic franchise in the past 10 years has been the movies, but regardless of that, we'll see what happens. In addition to some other stuff that they showed off, we got a brand new trailer for Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4. It's now titled Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. I was about to say Sparking Neo for a second. I've been like, hey, that's gimmick infringement. Y'all keep checking my name. But we got a new trailer for that game, and it's looking fucking beautiful, bro. Like, I know we say this about a lot of anime games nowadays that aren't just fucking, like, the ones. But it's looking great, man. It's looking fantastic. It's just looking like everything I wanted out of a modern day Budokai Tenkaichi title. It's crazy that the last game we got was Budokai Tenkaichi. No, I mean, technically the Raging Blast games, but the last Budokai Tenkaichi game was BT3, and that was a hell of a long time ago. And this is looking pretty sick, man. I mean, we still haven't got a proper release date for it, but they did say that it's been in development for 5 years? That's crazy to think about. That's crazy to think that an anime game has been in development for 5 years. What have they been doing for 5 years? Like, this game better come out. It better be the greatest anime game of all time. I'm talking about, it's got the best roster. It's got the most balanced fighters. Oh, man, I don't even know. Because most of the time, these games, man, they'll give you the framework for it. And then they'll just do a sequel after sequel after sequel. Unless it's like Xenoverse, where it's like, we'll give you the framework for it, and we're just going to do all these updates over the years. That's what I was sort of thinking would be the case with Budokai Tenkaichi 4. It'll be like a Xenoverse in the sense that, sure, we'll give you this game, you'll have a decent roster, and then we'll give you downloadable characters, or we'll give you expansions, things like that. Kind of similar to what they were doing with Dragon Ball Kakarot, that game, how it had like all the way up to a certain saga, and then we'll give you like these DLC episodes. But apparently this game has been in development for 5 years, so either the game is going to be friggin' polished like no tomorrow with great amount of content, or it's going to be polished and then we're just going to give you all this DLC stuff, because they're going to need to support this for years. And how they're going to do that, it just seems like they're going to be selling people back other characters, which I'll say this. I don't mind it if the characters are definitely more balanced and they have a variety to them, as opposed to Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which I love BT3, I love BT2. But a lot of those characters are very clone-like. So if you're making it a more balanced roster where the characters actually have more, I mean, the only term I could think of is more weight to them, more of an identity to them, then I wouldn't mind paying for the characters if it's like that. But if it is the case where it's just like, oh, we're just gonna sell you back these characters just for the sake of, it's like, oh well, we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I want to see what they do with it. I really want to see what they do with it, especially after all the backlash that well, it's a different scenario, I know, but all the backlash they've gotten with Naruto Storm Connections and just the whole handling of that game, they really need a win. And I hope that BT, I keep saying BT4 because that's just what it's been, but you know, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, I hope that's their win for them. But shout out to all the people who've been joining in between in the chat. We got Overly Critical Anime, we got Ronin, we got Lapis, Arsene. Oh, we got the homie Royal Boyle, my brother. How you doing, man? Oh, I'm loving that LGC3, bro. That shit is fucking beautiful. I love it. That's my baby right there, man. Oh, we got Johan in the chat too. Oh, we got everybody pulling up tonight. What's going on, you guys? We just got done talking about this new Dragon Ball game trailer. And let's just go ahead and address some super chats real quick. Appreciate you guys. We got a $2 super chat coming in from the homie Flame. I expected more out of the boy. I expected more out of the boy and the heron, to be honest. What? No, Flame, that was a good movie. What you talking about, fam? I think you need to sit down and watch it twice, like Suzume. But yeah, so as far as some of the other games that they showed off, man, there was just a lot of stuff that they showed off. There was like a couple of really cool indie games. There was this game called Exodus that gave me huge Mass Effect vibes. I mean, the guy who worked on Mass Effect is writing the game too, so there is that, you know, obviously. But that game is looking pretty sick, man. But there is one game in particular that, man, there's one game in particular that has just been the talk of the town. It's been the talk of the show for the better part of the last week. And that game is, of course, coming from Bethesda and Arcane Leon. That game is Blade, ladies and gentlemen. So, the biggest bombshell of the night, outside of the Muppets, was Arcane Leon, you know, of Bethesda, now an Xbox first-party studio. They're working on a Blade game. Seemingly out of nowhere, we learned this. Now, I need to be honest. I gotta be a little transparent about this. Your boy Neo actually knew about this for a couple of days. Now, I'm not no industry insider. I'm not. But every now and then I do come in contact with some information. Sometimes it's just a random person that pops in my DMs. Other times I'm just conversing with folks in the industry. And, you know, I try not to be that guy because I don't like to be a leaker or a scooper and just say this stuff. Because, you know, I don't want to ruin the fun. And I also like to be excited about things. But I did hear from somebody that something was going to go down. And the way we were conversing and discussing, I was just like, listen, don't tell me what the game is. Allude to it. And from what he texted me, I was like, oh, fuck. If this happens, everyone is going to go batshit insane. And yeah, so Arcane is working on a Blade game. Now, they didn't show anything of it because the game is still very early in development. We learned that they had just gotten started with the development, and that's all we know. Arcane is working on a Blade game. It's going to be set in Paris, and that's it. So, I'm excited. This is great. This is awesome. Woo! We're getting another, you know, quality developer working on a superhero title. But everything else that has happened since then, man, the discourse has been wild. So, let's talk about the developer working on this. Arcane Leon. So for those who are unaware, who might not be in familiarity with developers, Arcane Leon are the developers behind the Dishonored games, in addition to Deathloop, right? Deathloop being what we've all coined the term, one of the biggest plants of the industry, because it was so crazy, because the game, you could not escape a PlayStation event, whether it's a state of play or a showcase, without them mentioning Deathloop. Similar to Hideo Kojima, you would think that Deathloop was the most prolific indie game of all time. and that no other developers working on it. It was a one-man team, because that's the way they were pimping it out, man. It was insane how much promotion and coverage it got. But maybe that was the extent of the deal. But, you know, Deathloop got like 9s and 10s in the media, and then when it came out to the players were a little bit more divided. It was still a mostly positive game, but definitely not like the 9s and 10s of the media was praising it. But, you know, still a lot of people really enjoyed it. You know, it did good for the studio. And then we found out that team is now working on Blade, which, here's the thing. I really wasn't feeling Deathloop like that. I played it for a few hours. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I found some of the mechanics interesting, but not enough to keep me invested. Dishonored, though. Oh, man, I love the first Dishonored game. The first Dishonored game is awesome. So, for me, the enjoyment of what this Blade game could be stems more from my excitement with Dishonored. And Deathloop, even though it wasn't my cup of tea, I'm not going to sit here and say it was like a terrible game, you know? So I'm excited for this Blade game based off of that, in addition to what we learned a little after the fact from the developer Dinga Bakaba. When he was talking about the game, we learned that the game itself is going to be very arcane. So one of the things that a lot of people were kind of worried or nervous about when it came to established developers working on superhero IPs is how much of their own identity are they going to put in these games? Is it going to be an actual game, or is it going to be like a factory? Like, okay, you know what you can expect. Like the only analogy I can really say is like whenever people talked about superhero movies, you know how when a established director would work on a superhero film, how much of their own identity is going to exist with this game? That's like a fear that a lot of people have had. But you know, some developers are able to toe the line, like Insomniac. They can make a game that appeals to the masses, and at the same time, it's still an Insomniac game with the same love, care, attention to detail, all that stuff. And from the way Dinga Bakaba described it, even though it's still early, he said that they're going to be introducing a lot of the sim-like aspects that Arcane is known for in their games into Blade. And I think that idea is really interesting. You know, when they're talking about a Blade game that you play your way, you know, what does that look like? Being able to take down vampires your own way. That is really interesting to me. And I just based off how I played Dishonored, you know, one playthrough I played it very stealthily. And one playthrough I was just fucking akimbo, guns blazing. Like I just didn't give a fuck, man. I was just ramboing through that shit. Just the idea of what you could do with Blade. What does that look like? I'm interested to see what they do with it. Now, there is the other elephant in the room when you are mentioning Arcane. A lot of people look at this and they're just like, wait a minute. Arcane, didn't they just put out Redfall? Didn't that game flop? Wasn't that game a disaster? Like, why in the world are we getting hyped for Blade when they put out this? And to that, I will say, well, the obvious answer is that's not the same team. That being said, that is no excuse. Like we're crapping on Redfall all day, every day. Like we know that stuff. That's a given. They misled gamers. They lied to gamers. All that stuff is true. But because it's a different team, that's Arcane Austin. And unfortunately, Arcane Austin was dealt a really shitty hand. They really were. You know, like there was, if you read the behind the scenes of what went down with Redfall, and I'm just waiting for somebody to make like a whole video on it. Like, 'cause it's really fascinating. It's unfortunate at the same time. If you read behind the scenes of what happened with that game and Arcane Austin, the management, the expectations, from before the acquisition to after the acquisition, that situation went down. It was bad. So while people are right to be worried, it's not as simple as just saying that, oh, they worked on this, because by that logic, Insomniac Games and what they did with Fuse, you know, by that logic, even though the reason Fuse ended up the way it was because of EA, by that logic, why would anybody be excited? You know, because if you look at the rest of Arcane's output, it's really solid. So that's why I'm not losing sleep over it. And I really want Arcane Austin to have their moment in the sunlight where it's just like, hey, listen, we can actually put out a good game when we don't have bad shit happening. So We'll see what happens. Like, the jury is still out on Arcane Austin, but as far as Arcane Leon, that whole situation, I'm excited to see what happens with Blade. Now, there are some really perplexing things about this announcement of Blade. First things first, we don't know when this game is coming out. Now, that's a given with game industry announcements. We know that. Like, if you see something is announced and it doesn't have a release date, expect to play that shit in like 2 years, 3 years. This game, they just told straight out, like, yo, we just started it, which leads me to believe that this is not coming out until the end of the generation. At the earliest, we might be playing it like 2027, 2028, but the way it's looking in game development, we're looking at end of the generation. Potentially could be a cross-gen game, you guys. This could be a cross-gen Breath of the Wild, Horizon, Forbidden West, God of War, Ragnarok type of game. There are some people even thinking that, no, this is going to be an Xbox Series Z game, so it's not even going to be for this generation. This is going to be for the next one, which would be asinine to think that Arcane Leon just did one game for the generation, that being Deathloop, at the beginning of the generation, and then they're just like, we're going to spend the next 5 years working on the next game. That'd be fucking insane. But I think at the very least it is going to be obviously it's going to be a cross-gen game, depending on when this comes out. You know, I don't think the next gen console is going to be coming out until 2028 anyways. I think this generation is going to go on 1 year longer by comparison to last generation, because the sixth generation, the seventh generation was 7 years. The eighth generation was 7 years. This generation, I think just because of the pandemic, it's going to be 8 years. This game is not coming out anytime soon, which kind of sucks because it's just like every year that passes, we're like, are we going to see Blade? Are we going to see Blade? So it's kind of like, you know what it is? It's kind of like with the MCU. They announced that Blade movie back in 2019. And that thing ain't coming out anytime soon. That thing ain't coming out anytime soon. That thing was supposed to come out last year, and then this year, and then next year, and then maybe 2025. We'll see what happens. 2025 could be the date. But yeah, don't expect to play this anytime soon, you guys. But what's even more interesting is that we didn't get, not necessarily a platform, we didn't get an Xbox logo on it. All we got was Bethesda and Arcane Leon. That was it, period, point blank. And that's prompted a lot of people to say, wait a second. Whoa. Why wouldn't Xbox like boast that they got this game exclusive? Because this is a Marvel property. This is something that Phil Spencer has been lambasted about for years. Oh, Xbox needs a superhero game. Xbox needs their answer to Spider-Man. Xbox needs this. And the second you get this announcement and you shut the industry down with that trailer, you don't say it's exclusive? What gives? Now, there's two things that lead me to believe why they didn't announce that this thing is on Xbox. So, first things first, the reason why I think that they didn't announce that it's on Xbox or exclusive to Xbox or whatever could potentially be because of the ongoing situation right now with the FTC and the situation with Xbox and Activision. I know we all think that this is over, but it's still happening. It's still a thing. And if they're in their mind, if they don't announce that this thing is exclusive, then that's them looking weak. I know this is like conspiracy theory type shit that, announcing a Blade exclusive game would somehow give the FTC ammo. But if they want this fucking thing to close, and if all they need to do is just say, hey, one of our publishers announced a Blade game, we have no platforms because it's 5 years out, and that is their reasonable defense to it, sure. By all means, go for it, if that's what you're doing. Because before in the past, they've been able to say that, it's exclusive, we can boast about it. Like, after they closed the Bethesda deal at E3 that year, well, not E3, but, at the Xbox showcase, they said Starfield is exclusive, and they pounded their chest with it. They could have said Starfield was exclusive when they closed the deal, but no, they waited for an event to do that. And that was before the Activision Blizzard acquisition. So that could be a potential possibility of them wanting to do that, possibly. And then also in that FTC case, the court documents, and we learned what Xbox was doing, they were really, really, really being aggressive and in a jokingly like evil villain way about their acquisitions. Now it'd be a career move to acquire Nintendo and like all these things that you're looking at that, and you know all companies do an analysis of like potential acquisitions, and they evaluate those companies based off of the assets and what they could bring to the table. Every company does that. But the way in which Xbox was talking about it and the fact that it got leaked, that's not a good thing. Now, the second thing could possibly be it's out of their hands, potentially, because they are dealing with licensed IP. This is something that is owned by another entity. It's owned by Marvel, which is owned by Disney. And if it's in Disney's best interest to make the game multi-platform, by all means. That being said, though, it wouldn't make much sense considering Indiana Jones is going to be exclusive and the Spider-Man games are exclusive. And yes, Sony does own the Spider-Man film rights, so they do have more bargaining by comparison to Xbox. But the situation here could be maybe Disney is like, no, we want it to be multi-platform. But if that was the case, they would have announced it by now. They would have made a big deal, a big hubbub, like, oh my God, like Marvel and Disney are working on a Blade video game and it's multi-platform for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But what leads me to not believe that's the case is if this really were a multi-platform game, similar to Indiana Jones, wouldn't this trailer have been uploaded on the PlayStation YouTube channel? When Indiana Jones was announced, it wasn't uploaded on the PlayStation YouTube channel. It never was. That was years ago. Same thing with Blade. If PlayStation had the rights for this game and it was coming to their system, they would have put out a trailer, put out a press release. Because that's what, whenever Xbox announces a multi-platform game on their showcase, PlayStation has a trailer up immediately. Vice versa with Xbox. The same thing. Like after the State of Play, Xbox had their diagram of all the games from the State of Play that are coming to Xbox. Like, they do these things for a reason. So if you asked me if I had to bet whether or not it was exclusive based on the information that's provided to me and based off the information that is coming out now, I would say the game is exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. That being Xbox consoles, Xbox on PC, Windows 11, Steam, and then also Xbox Play Anywhere via the cloud. That's what I think it is. I don't necessarily think that Microsoft is in that position where they need to release this game multi-platform so they can make all the money back for it. Microsoft as a company, if you look at the amount of money that they have poured into random shit, it's not necessarily always about making back money. They just be doing random shit just because they feel like it. Like the fucking the Zune, like just all these random endeavors and shit that they do. And the Xbox decision is another one, for example. Like it just, the amount of money that they've lost on the division before in the past and how much money they're investing now into it, it's not necessarily about making back all that money soon. But in terms of making an impact and doing all that stuff and saying like, hey, we have one of our best studios working on Blade and you can play Blade on the Xbox ecosystem and all that stuff, to them, it's probably worth more. And there was something that came out recently, I think like one of the heads over at Disney was saying how it made sense for them to make Indiana Jones exclusive versus multi-platform because something along the lines of them making it exclusive could potentially have a bigger impact, which if you look at the metrics, at least as far as the announcement goes, and if the game is quality and it's great, yeah, you could make an impact. Like a really good Spider-Man game. Like, yeah, Spider-Man games have sold before in the past, but they really weren't that great outside of a couple. And then you have Insomniac's Spider-Man game that comes out and it just does gangbusters. So if they could potentially leverage that exclusivity, leverage the budget that's going to go into it, that's another thing that I think a lot of people need to realize. They want this game to be a success. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is Arcane's biggest budget game to date. If they are treating this as a very, 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 very big project, no different than Dishonored, Deathloop, or whatever, this is going to be a big budget game for them. And them having access to those resources and the support and the years to make those games, that's going to be awesome, dude. I can't wait to see what they do with it. So it's a great time to be a fan of superhero games because, like, look, we have the Insomniac Spider-Man games. We have this Blade coming out from Arcane. We have an Iron Man game in development from EA Motive. We have a Black Panther game in development from EA, a new studio that they formed is going to be working on that. We have an Iron Man and not Iron Man, a Captain America / Black Panther narrative storytelling game coming from Amy Hennig. That's a thing as well. Like there's a lot of superhero games coming out, and if all those games are quality, man, it's gonna be a good era, dude. Like Guardians of the Galaxy from Eidos Montreal, that was a great sleeper hit. That was fun. I still hope we get a sequel for that one day, but I don't really know if that's ever gonna be in the cards. But yeah, it's an exciting time, man, because we've always wanted them to have a return to form for a lot of these IPs, and excuse me, I think this might be a great opportunity for that. But yeah, let's go ahead and tackle a couple of super chats real quick. We have a $4.99 super chat coming in from Zack Rodriguez. Chris, I watched Godzilla -1 because you talked so highly of it. Best Godzilla movie, and I also bought Xenoblade Chronicles 1. I barely played it, but it seems so epic. Yeah, man, listen, Godzilla -1 is it's peak like never before, you guys. And I know when you always hear shit about people hyping stuff up, like how much of it is just hype. No, listen, if there ever is a movie to go in and watch blind, please watch Godzilla -1. I know it's not playing everywhere, but if you have access to it at a theater near you, go watch the movie, go support the movie, see what it's all about. Like I've seen the movie twice now, and guys, tomorrow night I'm thinking I might see it for a third time. I'm just looking at Regal right now, just seeing some of the screen times, and man, let me just go see what this is all about. Oh man, so tomorrow night they're playing it in 4DX. I might have to go ahead and I might have to see it for a third time, just a three-peat to see it in all three formats, you guys. I might have to go ahead and do that. But yeah, and Xenoblade Chronicles 1, dude, enjoy the fuck out of that game. That story is amazing. And Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is one of my all-time favorite games. I'm over here playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. I just started that up today. I'm only about like an hour in, but I definitely want to finish that up. I'm going to finish that up before the end of the year. And then hopefully just get on here and just gush with you guys about it, because I didn't really do that about the third game. I feel kind of bad about it. So I think I might just make a whole little, like, let's just gush about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and how the series is so fucking amazing and it connects. Future Redeem. We have a $2 super chat coming in from Flame. Xbox announces game. FTC, you have chosen lawsuit. Yeah, absolutely. FCT, they're like, how fucking dare you? It's like Xbox breathes, the FTC. Nah, the FTC when it comes to Xbox is definitely that kid who has like the vein on his forehead, the little kid who's just sitting in the classroom like, that's what the FTC is with Xbox. Like straight up like that. Let's see, what's happening here? Talk about Rise of the Ronin. It's looking pretty damn good. Like they showed off some more gameplay at the Game Awards. It's looking fucking nice, man. I just don't know when I'm gonna have the time to play it, man. There's so many things coming out early. Oh my god. Andre Braugher just passed away. Oh my god, bro. Dude. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine before, but he was the captain. He was Captain Holt. And he just died at 61. Oh, fuck, bro. Dude, both him and Lance Reddick passed away this year. Oh, Jesus. Fuck, bro. Rest in peace. Dude, oh my god. Oh. Fucking hell, man. Jason, I don't know if you've ever watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine before, but Andre Braugher, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Braugher. He played Captain Holt. He just passed away. Fuck, bro. Dude, that's just... Dude. Man. Jesus, bro. We just had to get one more before the year ended. Rest in peace, man. Like let's just go back and look at this man's filmography for a second. Because he's probably did some shit from my childhood that I didn't even... Jesus. Yeah, so I didn't watch this series, but Homicide, Life on the Street, that was in the early 90s. He was in Men of a Certain Age. He was in, of course, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's the one I think he was most popular for in recent years. He was in Glory, if you guys have ever seen that movie. Great fucking movie. He was in Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. I remember him as that background character. I remember that. You know, he's just done random bits and pieces here and there. Yeah, he was in Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. He voiced Darkseid. He's got a good voice for that. Jesus, dude. Oh, he was in that Tuskegee Airmen film. I remember that. I think we watched that in school. Man, rest in peace, bro. Rest in peace, man. Yeah, he said he passed away. He had a brief battle with an illness. Doesn't really say much more. I mean, that's his private life, so, you know. Still 61, dude. Damn. Oh, Die Hard was Jake Peralta's favorite movie, and we just saw it. That's right. That is right, Jason. Yeah, so Jason and I last night, we hung out. We got Mexican food, margaritas, and we saw Die Hard in Dolby Cinema. And that character on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Jake Peralta, his favorite movie was Die Hard. And he tried to be like John McClane. He tried to be like that type of cop. Man, what are the fucking odds? Oh, Jason just said, wow. So Lance Reddick, he was 60 when he passed away. He was going to be 61. Jesus. And then what Jason just said, we saw Rogue One days before Carrie passed. Man, we need to be more careful. Jason, don't say that. No, Jason, do not put that into the universe. We are not responsible for this. Don't fucking say that, dude. No. Wait, wasn't Carrie Fisher like 61? Oh, no, Jason. Now you're scaring me. Dude. Jason, no. You got to put that evil back. You got to put that evil back, bro. Because Carrie Fisher was 60 years old when she passed. You got to put that evil back, Jason. You can't put that on us. No, Jason. Do not. No. No. Now, no. No, Jason, don't say that. No. Jason, no, fuck, no. But yeah, my deepest condolences to Andre and his entire family, bro. That man gave me a lot of laughs. Great performances, man. Yeah, Glory is a really, really good movie. Don't forget to give people their flowers while they're still here. Absolutely, bro. You have to celebrate people while you're here. You got to let them know that you love them, that you're proud of them. You know, if they're people you really fuck with, like, find a way to figure out beef and problems. You don't have to be on the best of terms with people, but just make sure you're on civil terms, and you just don't want that type of fucking negative energy on your conscience, man. One shot of moonshine for Andre Bauer. Absolutely, man. If I had some moonshine, I would do that. Oh, wait. Jason's crazy, bro. But yeah, I'm looking at the clock right now, you guys. It's coming up on 9 p.m. over here. We've gotten through our topics for the night. So I think we might as well just call it an early night and go ahead and wrap up the stream for the evening, y'all. Like I said, this is probably going to be the last news show that we do for the year, considering the news cycle always winds down around this time. There really isn't that much to discuss. Unless there is some breaking news and there's a lot to discuss, we'll have another one of these episodes. But looking forward to the next, I want to say 6 weeks or so of streams, it'll probably be Ask Neos. We'll most likely do the Colin show, where we just get a lot of people to come on and we can just talk about random stuff. Don Otaku, I know, definitely wants to talk about the Scott Pilgrim show, so I think that'll be a cool thing we can do. Game nights, of course, that's going to be a thing that's going to happen around probably either we might do it the first week of January, or I'm just looking at the schedule. We're probably going to have game night. I want to say, so not next week, but the following week. We're not having Ask Neo on the 26th, that Tuesday, because I'm going to be out and about with the boys. But we are going to be having it that Wednesday. We're going to have a stream that week. So that might be the game night stream, like a nice little thing that we do before the year is over. I think that'll be a nice one. I was going to say do it the week after, but I was like, nah. So yeah, definitely next week we could have that call-in show discussion. The week after that, we can have game night. And then after that, the first week of the new year. You know what? The first week of the new year might be, I need to make good on that promise of watching the old videos. And now I have no excuse because there's no fucking news to talk about. So we might have that stream where we just sit back and react to old content. Oh, golly, yeah, because I did miss my 15-year YouTube anniversary. So what better way to ring in the new year but just getting a bottle and just watching old content. Holy shit. And we all got to do it, too. I'm not going to be the only one drinking. You guys got to join me with that shit as well. And then, yeah, we're going to look forward to 2024. We're going to start doing the Kingdom Hearts data battle streams. So I'm going to be streaming a lot more games, primarily just Kingdom Hearts 3. We're going to try to stream a boss battle. I want to beat at least 2 bosses a month, if not at least 1 boss a month. I'm going to commit myself at least to 1 boss a month. But at least 2, I want to try to aim for 2 bosses and get that over and done with for Corey Gryffindor, because he's been waiting a long time. Data battles are happening next month. We're going to go through that. And yeah, we have a lot on the docket for 2024, man. A lot of stuff coming into the channel, a lot of new things, continuing the news show, doing all that stuff, and it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. Corey Gryffindor, we will be in contact as far as what bosses you think I should do first. Obviously, I gotta reacclimate myself to Kingdom Hearts. Gotta reacclimate myself and get back to that. So give me the easiest bosses and then work my way to the hardest one, and then we gonna go from there. Oh man, Dad, you beat all those bosses in 2 days. Oh shit, there you go, bro. 2008 NGS fun times. Hey, you know what it is, Deuce. You know what it is, Aaron. You know what it is. Oh man, it's gonna be interesting. I can't wait for it. But before we go, we gotta have ourselves a hydration check. Even though it isn't Ask Neo, you guys are gonna get on me if I end another stream without doing a hydration check, because those are something that have become so accustomed to all the streams. But yeah, hydration check. On the count of 3, ladies and gentlemen, I leave the hydration check explanations for the Ask Neo. I'm not doing it for this one. So on the count of 3, you guys, we're going to hydrate up in this bitch. 1, 2, 3, hydration. Oh, man, I feel so fucking hydrated, my guys. This is crazy. I just killed 17 ounces of water in this stream. Oh, as you can see, my voice is starting to go. Talking for 2 hours straight. But I only have rubbing alcohol. Well, you know what, Don Otaku? Yes, about time. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Please. Anyways, let me not. Let me not before the advertisers come after me. Thank you guys so much for coming through this stream. Thank you guys so much for your support as always, especially with the launch of this new show. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps out the channel tremendously. We're currently at 82 likes. So if you guys could, help bring that up throughout the stream. Thank you guys so much for coming through and watching it live. Thank you guys so much for, if you're watching this on the playback, leave a comment about any of the topics that we discussed tonight. Some of your favorite E3 moments. What do you think about the Game Awards? Do you think that this is just par for the course when it comes to the streams? And this is what it is going to be going forward, or is there room for improvement? And what do you guys think about all the games that got discussed? For me to you for now, you guys, my name is NGS signing out, and like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one.